Hello, I'm Maria from Sew Through Time, and recently, like millions of other people, I watched Bridgerton and really enjoyed it and was inspired by the Regency fantasy world that they had created. But because I'm a historical costumer that tends to focus more on the historically plausible things than pure fantasy, I wasn't so much inspired to recreate one of the looks as is, but more as in what would Daphne for real wear in 1813 promenading with the Duke? Now, if you're interested more in these fashions that were fashionable in 1813, I recommend you go and watch the video linked somewhere above here that I made. It's a short explanation of Regency fashion and how the silhouette changes. So I won't go into too much detail as in why the fashion was the way it was, but in 1813, the fashion was the high empire waist, and during daytime, most gowns had long sleeves. There are some gowns with short sleeves too, but most of them are long, and the fashion for long sleeves tends to be really over long, like covering most of your hand, even up to your fingers. And the sleeves already are looser. They tend to have little gathering at the top, but also the sleeves themselves can have puffs and gathers all the way around or just be fairly loose on your arm. There are still some tight sleeves, but it is going more towards the looser sleeve. But the feature that I really loved and that I wanted to have in my gown was that dip in the back of the gown at the neckline. A lot of the backs in these gowns actually dipped all the way to that empire waistline, and some had gathering, some had fabric draped around it, and there could be bows or just pieces of fabric hanging down from there, or it could be just plain. And I decided I definitely wanted that on my gown. For the base of my pattern, I used the book Regency Women's Dress Techniques and Patterns from 1800 to 1830 by Cassidy Percoco. And in her book, she has this gown that is held in the New York State Museum. It's a day gown, and it dates from about 1809 to 1818. Now, this gown already has that wider neckline that I was really loving and the looser, fuller sleeve. But it doesn't have yet that back that I wanted, so I just patterned it myself and tried to figure it out the best I could. And this gown is completely unlined, so this is very different from most Regency gowns, where at least you'd have the bodice part lined. When I was looking at fashion plates from this era, the term percale cotton kept on coming up over and over again. I had never heard of percale cotton, so I had to read up on it. And apparently it's a very tightly woven kind of cotton that produces a very crisp, clean fabric that is very cool, and it has more body to it, more similar to linen. Now, a cool, crisply woven, dense cotton sounded lovely, so I decided to hunt some down. And I found the perfect Daphne blue in a bed sheet that is organic percale cotton. So I decided to use that. Now, as lovely as percale cotton sounded on paper, I do have to say I'm not exactly a fan. It is very hard to sew through because it is so dense, it kind of makes your needle drag on it. It was like as if I would have a really dull needle with a ginormous head every single time I sew, even though my needle was good quality and does not have any snags on it. It just did not want to come through that fabric. And also another thing I noticed, when I was ironing it, my steam iron let out a few drops, and that actually left a water stain. So I had to water it down several times and re-iron it to get those water stains out. So that's kind of an odd choice for bedding, I would say. Something that leaves stains from the slightest drop of moisture. But okay. And the other thing is that if you have pets, percale cotton is not necessarily the best choice, because this thing attracts dog hair like crazy. My dog doesn't even shed much, but still I had to brush it several times, and then the regular fabric brush was just not enough. I needed to actually use tape and get the rest of the hair off. gown is ready. I have to say that even though I'm overall really pleased with it, I'm not sure if I did the piping right. I had to a little bit fiddle around with it, and I think it might have been done somehow differently because, or then it was just on a flatter chested lady. I don't know. But anyways, I had a little problems getting it to sit nicely on my neckline. But all in all, I'm really pleased with it, and I love wearing this dress, and I definitely will wear it in the future. And now all it needs is some new Regency accessories for me to be ready to promenade with the Duke. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. In the comments, please let me know, what is your favorite Regency-era character? Is it maybe somebody from the Bridgertons? Or is it maybe a more classic Jane Austen character? Or maybe somebody completely different? See you again next time. Bye!